Welcome to Customizing Your Maskimals. I'm Rebecca, but I go by Yave. This is Brenda,
who goes by Velocity.
And that's Monica, who is currently going by Dappist behind the camera in place of Silver. Oh, we have people. Hi! Come on in. We literally just started. This panel is basically about the Walmart Maskimal heads, which have been going all over the internet, and I'm pretty darn sure everybody's heard of them by now. We're going to be talking about how you can turn this, or its similar companions, into something like this. Or any of its other counterparts. Each one has been, other than this one, has been minorly adjusted in at least 2 or 3 different ways to make it easier to turn the pre-made heads into partials and basically just make it to where you're not just a big bobblehead running down the hall. So I think we'll start with the first one that was customized, which was the zombie bear. It started out looking like, give me a second, I have the actual pictures.
Put it in front of the camera first and then show everybody.
It started out looking like, sorry, I'm not that organized. This.
All right, go around.
A lot cuter.
Oh, wow.
A lot.
Just put it in front of Monica's camera first.
Not scary at all.
Too cute.
And we turned it into this terrifying thing for a convention known as For Reality.
Brains were exposed too, huh?
Yes.
I'm going to show you how to make the brains.
For the post-apocalyptic convention last year. Mostly what I did was I added a bit of stuffing to give it the illusion of cheekbones, because we all know when you're dead, your face kind of sinks in a bit. And then all of the wounds are silicone. And then the teeth themselves are felt. And so is the very bloody tongue, which actually rips out.
Oh.
So you can stage it. Like that. It's going to stay like that for the rest of the time. And we paired it with Dappist's fursuit paws, because this particular color of tan fur was very difficult to find, and we couldn't get it in time for the convention, so we just use these.
Describe where we at.
After this one was that one, which is Velocities. This particular suit goes by Squatty. It looks something like this to start, but this is also somewhat modified. First of all, I changed out the mane to look, well, to match the rest of the pieces. This one was not originally a zombie.
Right.
That one looked like this one, because this one was for Indie FurCon, which came first.
Which was an 80s theme, and I'm an 80s child, and I was all about the unicorns and rainbows, so that's why I...
My Little Pony?
Yeah, I don't think My Little Pony was out in the 80s, but...
It was actually.
Like, yeah?
It's not as mainstream as it is now. I watched the cartoon myself, actually, I have to admit. It's a good show.
But yeah,
so
we have the feet hooves, we have the hand hooves, and a tail, all that match the mane on the back.
The hands. That is the foot.
And what they are is they bought them at Party City, and they're actually leg warmers that you just buy at Party City.
Yes.
So
all of them are leg warmers.
Right. And what this is just a slipper that she just took felt and just like literally from here to here just stretched it over and glued it down. And then took another piece of felt and went around the back and then hand sewed the leg fluff on it.
Mom,
And we did put, this one had elastic and the original leg warmer.
So those are just, did you put the elastic in there, or you just?
It came with it, with
all
when the
that?
original
Yes.
leg warmers were bought. I mean, these are from
Party City.
Party City, and they
about
were
$20 per
20
pair.
bucks per pair. So we actually bought 3 packs
Complete
of them. And then the hand
Is half a leg warmer each.
is cardboard, and then she lined it with fun foam so that it wouldn't mold. Because I'm not going to wear this a whole lot. You know, this is just was just for an event.
Here, Mom, come back here.
Okay.
Let me
Go ahead.
continue. This one was for the 80s theme convention for Indy FurCon. And then there was an incident, and we got Sharpie on the back of its head, which is where the brain currently is. It was driving us absolutely mad, so we tore off that part of the fur. That's when we decided to go to fur reality, so we made it a zombie and added all of the disgusting blood and stuff. And there's actually a full outfit that's bloodied up to go with it. And so we didn't have to bloody up all the parts. There's another half of a leg warmer around here somewhere to go over the non-bloody paw.
It is right here. I don't know if it's
No, that's not it. Give me a
this one.
second. This one has it on it. And it's just whoosh, all blooded up and garbage. And you just put it over this. And then there's this, which is Velcroed on.
Because Velcro sticks to felt. You don't have to have the male and female part. You just have to have the male part.
So we have a perfectly good pair of clean, non-bloody paws for when she decides to wear this, and the bloody sleeves for when she decides to wear this. Versatility is key. Each one of them has the capability to hold fans. The same kind of fans you use to blow up the giant T-Rex suits that you sometimes see walking around conventions or running around like this. And they're like human air conditioning units for one. Each one can fit 2 of them. Because this particular one has... Give me a second. It's kind of stuck.
really strong.
This, I believe, was an olive container that I tore apart to use as the structure for the inside of the face because these are prone to collapsing. They are meant to collapse so you can store them easier. When you're using it as a fursuit head, especially as a zombie, you don't want it to collapse or it'll look completely deflated like this one does now. You can't fit your head in it when it's like this, but it sits like this naturally. This will keep it from looking like a deflated balloon and will also provide stability for where you anchor the fans. There is strips of, I believe, the male side of the Velcro.
Yeah, male side's the scratchy side.
No, this is the female side of Velcro. That's in here to house the fan and the battery pack.
Which also has Velcro.
And it has these notches cut into it because I also hollowed out the nostrils to get airflow for the fans. We did that for this one only, and this one has it too, but it's no longer useful because we actually opened up the entire mouth.
We open the mouth, so it's got to come in from the mouth.
Which was really easy. It's just one seam. Just take a seam ripper or a pair of scissors and it's
hold on.
gone.
Okay, these fans are from Amazon. They are called Mascot Fans, and they are $10 each. Super duper cheap. And they have this is the best fan. I have to have fans in my suits because I have glasses and I'm half blind. So you put me in a suit that's already half blind and, I can't see if I fog over. So these are what's in all of my suits. I have Velocity with the Running Sloth, which a lot of people know. And then some of my suits have 2 of these because I'm OM. And it's in these things here, because of how big they are, the fan, actually one of these, will circulate it all the way around your head. So it feels like you have an air conditioner in here.
So these 3 are all from the first season of Maskimals.
That one.
They recently came...
I thought you forgot to do the scars.
We're doing
Oh,
that
we're
later.
just scars right now. Let's just
No. We're doing that in a bit.
Okay.
I'm explaining this first.
Okay.
There is 2 seasons of Maskimals. The second season just came out for the Easter holiday.
So you can't
This
get that.
particular one was made out of the second season black sheep. And it is a wolf in sheep's clothing with the
Oh.
rip-off face.
That's cool.
And there is a magnet in here, so if you don't want to use the strap, you just take the other magnet, stick it inside of the head, and it just sticks there. I don't have the magnet with me, I left it in the room. This was super easy to do. It was literally one seam around the face, and then just some bias tape and elastic. With a...
And she could have taken felt and felted the back easily.
but I
she
wanted
forgot.
to
Didn't think about it.
make sure that people could actually see that this was still a Maskimal. So I made sure to actually keep the face. I actually ruined the other face because I had intended it to be a
Zombie-ish.
zombie-ish serial killer because
It's a wolf.
predator wolf in a sheep's skin. But this is just a costume to make it look cheesy and kind of funny. Anyway,
Show them the other parts to that one.
there is also paws that I completely...
Stole from another piece, didn't it?
These are my Dutch Angel Dragon fursuit paws. If you don't have to make something, don't.
Especially for one, most of these were just made for a specific con. This was for Reality. This one was for IndieCon.
That one was for reality as well.
Right.
This one is for Anthrocon, but I managed to get it done before this. I literally finished this the Thursday morning before the con, and then when it was done, we packed it in the car and came here. I got no sleep that night anyway. And we also made new wolf tail for it. It's just your standard, make flat shape of tail, cut it out with the proper fur direction, make a circle for the end after you stuff it, and add elastic. There are plenty of tutorials online for that.
Explain about the face, the wolf's face.
For the actual wolf's face, for those of you who do not know, I am an actual fursuit maker. I don't just do this.
This was a challenge. This was her challenge for me to see what you could do with it.
For the actual face, it is how you make a normal fursuit head. It's just the face. And then the teeth are all individual felt teeth, and the tongue is made of fleece. This does not come out, but it's only tacked in the back so it can lift up and all that. The nose is also covered in fleece, and the rest is pretty much just the same. The only major thing on this that I have not done... Oh, yes?
Oh, I was just like, so you were the one that actually put in all the teeth and everything.
Individually, one at a time.
Wait, let me show the sheep before you go any further. Hold on, let me find it. Go ahead. Keep going, I'll find it.
Anyway, yes, individual teeth at 2 in the morning. Individual teeth hot glued in after sewing all the caps on the bottom. Because when you do fabric fursuit teeth, you don't just want to glue them in with exposed polyfill or foam on the inside. Because I've tried doing that before with my Dutch Angel Dragon, and the hot glue on the polyfill won't secure the actual covering, and it'll just rip off. So make sure you sew them shut at the very least. Anyway, the ears of the suit are just
This is what the
camp
sheep
mat
look like together.
that were cut into the shape and glued onto another piece of foam so they're slightly set inside of the head to make it look a little bit more like he's just wearing a hood, but they are attached. Everything was furred individually. This had over 40 pieces to fur the face alone. Each one of the ears was 3, and this probably took me about 48 hours, most of it consecutive.
She didn't sleep for a week.
Slept for a week, came to a con where you don't sleep. I will be dead for the next week when this is over. And another part of this is it has a cape. that just is velcroed in, if I can get it off, to look like he's wearing the pelt of a sheep. And it has its own tail. Little tiny lamb butt tail. And it is lined on the other side so that it's not just this cheap, scruffy
And the
fur
fabric,
backing.
the fabric, the curly sheep fabric came from Joann Fabrics, and the black fabric also came from Joann Fabrics.
Everything was made from local craft stores. I didn't have to order anything except for the magnet that is under this little dot of fabric here. And that's just because I had extra for my regular fursuit. Any more questions before I move on to...
Silicone.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Each one of the prosthetic brains and scars are made of silicone caulking.
Okay, first off, I have to explain, I am a sculptor. I have a master's degree in art. And so this was a new challenge for me because I'm a ceramicist. So I'm used to thinking the world in 3 dimensions. So this was just an extension of it. I saw a tutorial on how they were making prosthetic brains in jars for Halloween. And I'm like, I could do that on these suits. So what I did was, I did my little research. If you're going to do prosthetic brains and scars and stuff, what you need is silicone, which is paintable.
Mom,
Yeah?
little PSA, this is not for use for attaching to skin. That is latex, and do not use this particular method for doing that. It is not safe for long exposure to your face.
Right.
This is basically paintable, non-toxic tub sealant. Would not recommend for use in theater prosthetics. This is for stuff you're gluing into fursuit heads
Right.
and other things.
So we experimented quite a bit, and we figured out what we were doing first was we were making bases. What I was literally doing is taking their heads and making a base out of tinfoil, and I usually put newspaper and stuff inside, wrapped it in tinfoil. Then at first, I was wrapping that with plastic wrap. Didn't work because silicone does not glue really well. So then we started doing it on felt. That worked brilliantly because then you can actually get it really thin. With you putting it on plastic, you had to get it a little thicker. And so that one and this one is super heavy. The one we're making at home has this lighter weight stuff in it, and it worked brilliantly. And felt glues wonderfully. So what I did was where's my brain?
There.
I made this on felt. You see that, Mon? Okay. Now what this is felt, and I made the brain cast for the other piece. So it does have a little bit of a curvature. Not a lot though. And I'm going to show you guys what this is. This is silicone white paintable silicone, which is the stuff you use in your tub. You just go to Walmart and get it. It's like $8 a tube. And with the $8 tube, you can get almost 2 whole Maskimals if you do it on felt. It's 1 if you did it on plastic, which, as I said, doesn't work really well because you're not able to glue it in successfully. So all this is a caulk gun, silicone. Now, I don't know if you've ever used a caulk gun. I hadn't, so this was kind of new to me. There is a little hole here. That's how you open it up. You take it, put it in that hole, snap it, and snap it out. I know most of you guys probably do know that. Then there is a little piece of something in there that you have to pop. So that's why they always give you like this little needle thing, and then you stick it down that hole and you like jab, 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 like 10 jabs to get the cock loose. Then you load it into the gun. Now then this one has been used, obviously. This is the one I used the other day. And I left it in there so you guys could see what it was. Now for the brains, you want like a random
Swirly
pattern. So you actually want to have it up about this high and just let gravity be your friend on this. And just keep moving, And then at the end, I just took the tip and ran it down the center.
Make sure you clean your tip as often as
Yeah,
possible.
clean your tip before you do that, or you're gonna have a mess. And what I do to clean it is I just take an extra piece of felt that was a little small because we have felt constantly. I just took another piece of felt and used it. So that is the brain. Then we painted them first. Then we put them in and then painted them again. We used a base of...
Actually, no. That's not how I did it.
We painted these first.
No. Shush. What we did was painted them, got them as good as we possibly could. I then sealed them with Mod Podge. Do not do that. It makes it sticky. Then, because it was sticky, I had to try to find a way to get rid of the sticky, so I painted it again.
Don't use Mod
That
Podge.
worked. Be very careful when painting them in the suit if you want blood in specific places.
Okay, where's the little piece of scab? There it is. All right. So now we have two different kinds of scabs here. Now, how we did the scabs were we just put a blob on there. I took a plastic knife, smeared it super thin like you're smearing a cake. Now, you don't want it to look perfect. You don't want that, just flat. You want some texture in it. Now then, there's two different kinds, as I was saying. This one is just a flat scab, and I'll bring it around in a second. This one actually has the claw marks in it. So we put 3 lines. Once again, I just used the tip of the cot gun to do the lines to look like scabs, like scars, scratches.
And you don't just
And
have
they're
to
super
use...
thin too, and they're really, you want to touch it? Super lightweight. And so why we were doing it on these Maskimals, why we started out doing them on Maskimals, because we all have really, really good suits. And for a one day or a one convention thing, you're not going to want to destroy your real suit, right? So a $20 suit, you can have fun with it, make it towards that convention, and then go back and have your real suit for the fun.
And you don't have to do this just for the horror movie prosthetics. You can also be creative with it and do something like this for scales. Or
For like
if
a
you
mermaid.
want, you can also do it for horns, but that will take a lot longer to dry. For these particular scales, it's just a row of dots, and you use a spoon to smear it.
Yeah.
And then another row of dots
You do it a
off
little bit better.
center
We were just doing it
and
with
smear it
examples
again.
to try
Super
to
easy.
cover up the thing, but if you're going to paint it,
This particular method was not my design. I've been looking up how to make silicone mermaid tails for swimming and stuff like that. They do it similar to this, but instead of felt, it's neoprene and aquarium silicone instead of this. That way, if
So you can use
bits
it in the
flake
pool.
off, it doesn't kill fishes.
you don't want to kill
So
fishes.
that's another thing. If you want to do that, now you know. You can do this with any kind of little texture you want. You can also find molds and stuff to put your silicone in, smooth it out, and then once it's dry, you can peel it out. Just make sure you use a mold release. It works fine. And you can also do that for the teeth too, if you wish. It'll be a little harder. It'll take a long time to dry, but it's doable.
And we had a fan on the scabs that we just showed you. They actually dried within about 8 hours.
And it-
Completely.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be a 24-hour cure time. We still left them overnight so
Yeah,
the
we flipped
fumes,
them halfway through too.
so the fumes could dissipate and stuff. But if you're in a hurry, now you know.
Yeah, you could totally do it on with a fan.
Any questions?
Questions?
No.
No?
No?
Any suggestions?
Okay, we are going to hand out a piece of paper. We're actually going to do a drawing. So one of you three are going to take this one home.
Yeah. We
But wait,
were
how many?
originally going to bring a third zombie, but didn't have time to paint it because this one took so long.
Real name or persona name?
Yeah, you're here, so yeah.
Yeah, it's just if you're here. Doesn't matter if it's your real name as long as, make sure we can read it. Because we're just going to call them out, and whoever gets it, gets it.
I don't know if you showed this.
Oh, that. You're good.
So I'm going to actually put this suit on
No, stop. Give me the piece.
really quick.
What this particular piece was the bane of my existence for a week. This is the Bone Hoof for her zombie. What it is a plastic skeleton bone. Is similar to what the actual bone would have been for a real horse. And then it was stuck inside a chunk of foam, which is right here. Stuck inside a chunk of foam and sculpted to be kind of concaved, so it looks like there's meat chunks and fur kind of dripping off of it. The bone was cut short and capped with a bit of, this is felt.
Yeah.
So it didn't rub against her skin or something, and she can just hold on to the end of the bone. And then it's all bloodied up. How I managed to save and keep some of the meat chunkage around the bone is this is also painted felt that also somewhat goes up the bone at the base to kind of blend it in. There's definitely a better way to do this. Now that I know about the whole silicone thing, I did not at the time for this. I would do that this next time instead. But it worked for the temporary.
You forgot to talk about the eyes.
It worked for the temporary costume. Another major part about Maskimals and a reason that people usually don't like them is because these eyes are super thin. You can see the person inside of the head through the eyeballs. A way to fix that is to use the plastic crochet mesh that people use to make regular fursuit eyes, like in this one, and just stick it behind it if you want to keep the eyeballs. If you don't, you can literally cut out the eyes, just leaving a very thin border, paint whatever you want on the plastic crochet mesh, and glue it over it.
Okay.
You just got to be careful not to get the glue in the fur, and not to get the glue seeping through
Can you see me?
the background.
Didn't want to put it on. Can you see me through it?
Usually.
Yeah.
And another thing is, for the first season Maskimal heads, is that the eyes are
Look inside,
usually
yeah.
off center. And the pupils are usually not in the proper place. They seem to have fixed that in the second season. The quality control is much better. But for first season Maskimal heads, what you can do to kind of fix that is to take a Sharpie or paint, and you're going to have to be very careful and match up the eyes. But usually for the pupil part, the little white dot thing, I just completely get rid of it and put it back in.
But when you do that, because I did both of these to get rid of that white dot there, you want to take a Sharpie and you want to go one direction, then turn it a quarter of a turn, the next direction, turn it a quarter of a turn, the next direction, because it is, I think it looks like screening from a window screen. It's really weird texture.
It's not.
And it's not.
It's screen printed on, but you can still see through it.
Right. So.
It's a pain in the neck, but it is doable.
Yeah.
If you don't want to deal with that, just take out the eyes and replace them.
Yeah, you can totally do that too.
And if you do want to keep the eyeballs,
better than most of them.
you can literally just paint paint over it like I did with this one.
We really took our time.
As I said
No, we
earlier,
did the
these
first
are
one.
the same head. This one was originally pink eyes. I just took a little while to very carefully paint over it in red to make sure that it didn't clog up those itty bitty little pores.
So you can see
And
where the
this
first one was. We didn't do this
forever.
one as well.
Because
So
if you
have to
clog up the
turn it
pores on these
okay.
heads, you're doomed.
Nobody
There's
notices when it's
really
on,
nothing
but
you
I
can
do.
do
I notice.
to take the paint out
This one's not as nice.
without a lot of either blowing it out when it's still wet or hours and hours of meticulously taking a pin and popping each little hole free again.
And
Which is
do
also
not-
what you do if you clog up the back room on a fursuit eye.
Yes. But do not use glow in the dark paint. Because we tried to use the glow in the dark acrylic paint first, and it completely did something weird. What did it do?
The glow-in-the-dark paint, I think that's what we used on the
On
horn
the first,
for this.
no, it was for the first sloth, the one we destroyed.
Oh, that one. It just clogged everything up. There was no saving it at all.
There was no saving. We had to throw one away.
Didn't
totally.
work at all.
So, I mean, as we said, though, they're cheap. They're $20 a piece. It's not like you're,
Life and death.
you know, if you're getting a regular head, it's like $1,500. And so, with a little bit of adjustment, this one here started out with the $20 head. Then, with all of the stuff that we added, it was about $150. But then we took the pieces from this one and turned it into pieces for this one. So this one, minus the head's $20 at Walmart. Minus the head, we put another $30 into this one.
That's not quite correct. It was about $100 for both, not including the actual heads.
If you average it out, it was
If you
about-
average it out, that's about how much it was for
Right.
the silicone and all of the little itty bitty pieces and stuff, and including all of this.
Yeah,
$100 plus the two heads.
yeah.
Not very bad at all. And this could be done by anyone, but you probably would need adult supervision if you're doing this.
I think we're all adults here.
Yeah. Well, we're doing this for YouTube too. So.
Yeah.
Hi, YouTube.
Hi. No, I am not an adult.
She's
At least
only-
not mentally an adult. I am a fursuit maker. I don't need to be. Anyway.
So, do you have any questions?
And a lot of the other little details, like these little
That's just fun
eyelashes, fun foam.
Super cheap. You could get that at the Dollar Tree most of the time.
I think we didn't use anything other than that one magnet. Everything else was from Party City, Walmart, and Hobby Lobby, and Joann Fabrics.
Yeah.
I don't even think we went to Michael's.
And this was made of scraps. I mean, we had everything minus the head at home already.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing I forgot to say. You know how these are super huge and it's like a bobblehead for anyone running down the... Yeah. For this particular one, I tried something new, and there's actually a chin harness on the inside. That did not work. You need to add padding on the inside of this to fit your head.
Right. It's
That's-
like a normal fursuit.
Yeah. The chin strap kind of works, but it's still very front heavy.
Yeah.
So this one's not entirely done yet. I'm going to have to add some padding on the inside so it's not
Padding in the back.
bobbleheading everywhere.
So that it fits.
And that can be done with any of these. It's just meticulous adjustment and time. But anyone can take one of these and customize
That's very
it
nice. Logan Wolf.
to
That's
where
very nice.
it's no longer a Maskimal, it's yours. It's not mass produced anymore. It's your own baby, it's your creation. You can also do any number of other things that we haven't tried yet, and just, if you do that, share. This is a community of
Sharers.
sharing with all of this. Question?
Yeah, I probably know your answer already, But like I've never made like a fursuit head or I'm like none of that before. Would you suggest this for like if someone wants to like go out there and create their first like head? Would you suggest using, just because like the base is there? Would you suggest using a Maskimal instead of going out and like actually creating like your own head?
This is great practice for
It's a
that.
good start. Yeah.
It's a good start.
It's a good cheap start.
Just make sure you do your research beforehand.
There is all kinds of people on YouTube to tell you how to make this part. Who were you watching?
How I got into fursuit making in general was a YouTuber named Clusuits. She does full explanation fursuit build from bucket head to furred and out the door. That's how I began. And there are plenty of other tutorials like that. I also learned from matrices.
The badger one, the girl.
Tiny One Badger.
Tiny One Badger. That is a great one to look at if you are not wanting to do a bucket head. What she does is basically like a fencing mask. It looks like a fencing mask where she starts from. And that would be perfect to start with this. And she does it from start to finish. How to build the foam part of it. And then you go on to the other lady to learn how to fur it. So, I mean, it's super easy.
But with this, you already have your base. You just cut and paste pretty much. It's a good way to start, but it's still, what's the word? I can't tell where I was going with that.
It's still cheaper. I mean,
It's
way
cheap.
cheaper.
That's it.
And if you mess up on a $20 head, you're not going to be completely devastated
Right.
than making your $1,000 head,
And there's always a way to fix it.
Yeah. And if you go to like Joann Fabrics, always take your cell phone with you.
Use coupons for everything.
Start with their app, because their app usually gives you 40% off of one item. So if you're getting fur, 40% off of, I think that this was originally $16 a yard, this stuff. It was half. I mean, I think we got it for half, because I think we found a 50% coupon off for that.
I think this was meant for like baby blankets and stuff.
I don't know, but it is so soft. I'll bring that around.
We were gonna use it for a black sheep to begin with.
Right. We were going to make a black sheep out of it, but then I decided to go with Velocity.
And the major thing with this particular fur, it doesn't shave well.
No, it doesn't
At
shave
all.
Don't go there. Unless you're doing a
If you want
sheep.
good fur, order samples online and pick from there. If you want cheap fur, you can get immediately. Go to Joann Fabrics and Hobby Lobby.
Super close to the sheep.
That's where the black fur came
Oh, I
from.
already did, didn't I?
It's not the best quality fur. It's not very soft, but it's a good start.
It looks nice.
There's a lot you can do with resources readily available to you. All of my foam is from Walmart or wherever it's cheapest. Just
Sometimes you get it cheaper at Joann Fabrics with the 40% off coupon.
always go for remnants. Always go for sales. But yes, this is a very good place to start. It's also where you can see results fairly quickly, and just get creative with it.
Right.
That's the
I mean,
best
just fixing
thing I
the
can say.
eyes, and we put new manes on them. We just sewed them over what they had originally had, and just putting eyelashes on and digging out the nose. Man, you'd be so happy if you dig out that nose.
It's literally just cutting around the pre-existing
Right.
stitched on nose and just leaving it.
That way you can get
And
a little bit more
for-
air.
And for the open mouths, it's carved foam. So that's how you learn how to do that.
And
It's just take what cavity is left there from taking out the padding that's existing and learning how to try to get that same shape out of already getting that foam into the shape of the pre-existing cavity. It's basically the opposite of how you do it for a real fursuit head. For that, you carve it, tape it, pattern it, then you have your stuff. For this, it's already dealing with pre-existing patterns. It can be helpful for specific parts like that. It. Now that I think about it, you take some of these methods and reverse it for doing a real head. Just make sure you do your research. That's the major part. Any more questions? I'm hoping I'm answering these properly. This is my first informational panel, so we usually run games.
And I'm an art teacher, so I'm always in front of people.
Has everybody filled out the papers? Just hand them to her. We're actually going to put them on the inside of this and draw from there. Put them in the head.
Could you have all the black wolf head instead? I really like that one.
She's got a piece. I mean, she's got it as she works on most of her work. She puts it on furry amino, and her name is Yave. The spelling here. Just hand me your name tag. Just give me the name tag.
So you can see how it's done.
Yeah.
You can see how all of this is done.
Yeah. She did it. That's how it's spelled, and it's on furry
Ruby
amino.
Vegas?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I did?
Okay.
Awesome.
You on Twitter too?
Yes, but I think that's Yave 1799.
Awesome.
Or that might be Beck 1799.
Awesome.
Oh, she won? Yeah. Yay! Here's your tag. All right.
If you want all of my social medias to find all of my progress pictures and stuff, I will give that to you at the end of the panel.
We do have pictures of it in our phones. Okay, we're going to say goodbye to YouTube now. Bye, YouTube.
Bye.